A narcotics detective in Springfield, Massachusetts has been suspended but not fired after he threatened to kill and plant drug evidence on two teenagers who'd stolen an unmarked police car. His actions have jeopardized a number of drug cases. The officer, Detective Greg Bigda, was suspended by Springfield Police Commissioner John Barbieri for 60 days following an internal affairs investigation of an incident in February where Bigda interrogated two teenagers who, along with a third youth, were suspected of stealing an undercover police car that had been left idling outside a pizza shop. A video of the interrogation, during which Bigda reportedly threatened to crush the skull of one of the teens and plant a kilo of cocaine in his pocket, was provided to defense attorneys who are now using it to impeach Bigda's credibility in several pending drug cases. Springfield Mayor Dominic Sarno said he supports the commissioner's decision to suspend Bigda because of the likelihood firing him would not survive a civil service appeal and the city would be ordered to rehire the cop with back pay.
I'm not happy about it. This is what was recommended. It's a most severe suspension of 60 working days without pay and retraining.
Barbieri told the Republican newspaper that Bigda will be reassigned to uniform duty on a day shift when his suspension ends. Springfield City Councilor Justin Hurst, joined by four of his colleagues at a news conference, complained the punishment given Bigda is too lenient.
I think we have to ask ourselves when it comes to this case, at what point, what standard is there when we feel, or when the commissioner feels, that a cop should be terminated?
The incident involving the teens and the stolen police car remains under investigation by the Hampden District Attorney, and the video of the interrogation, which occurred at the Palmer Police Department, has not been made public because a judge ordered it sealed to protect the identities of the juveniles. Sarno has requested a review by attorneys for the city and the prosecutor's office to determine if any part of the video and other information in the Bigda case can be made public in the interest of transparency and accountability.
But we also have to make sure that we're able to protect the integrity, professionalism, and the brave efforts of our police department. And in turn, it's important that also is done for our residents too, to make sure that they have complete confidence in our police department.
The stolen police car was recovered and the juveniles arrested outside the city. A report filed by a Wilbraham police officer said a Springfield police officer kicked one of the teens in the face while he was on the ground and in handcuffs. The report did not name the officer. Springfield Police Detective Stephen Vigneault, who reported the cruiser stolen, recently resigned from the force, according to the Republican. Already, charges in two cases in which Bigda was a potential prosecution witness have been dismissed. Also, an alleged heroin dealer who was facing a 10 to 30-year prison sentence if convicted was allowed by prosecutors to plead as a first-time offender and was released after spending 3 years in jail awaiting trial. City Councilor Adam Gomez said Bigda's actions have harmed efforts to get drugs off the city's streets.
And it's a public safety issues, what's going on with the opiate crisis and a lot of these big drug cases, if they were on those, and then some of these people are going to be coming home back to our communities. So that's man hours, and they're talking about money that's that we're being spent. But the fact of the matter is that we spent enough money trying to lock people up, but then look at what we're going to do.
City Council Vice President Orlando Ramos renewed his call for Springfield police officers to wear body cameras.
If the camera wasn't there, this incident would have never been caught. And so the question should be, what other incidents are there that are not being caught on camera?
City officials have said the issue of police wearing body cameras is a topic for collective bargaining with the patrolmen's union. Reporting from Springfield, this is Paul Tuthill at WAMC's Pioneer Valley News Bureau on the campus of Western New England University.
Springfield, MA. Some residents and public officials of Springfield, Massachusetts are wondering what it takes to get a police officer fired after a narcotics detective reportedly threatened to crush the skull of a juvenile joyride suspect and plant cocaine on his body. The incident took place in February when Detective Greg Bigda interrogated 2 of 3 juveniles who were suspected of taking an unmarked police car left idling outside a pizza shop. Bigda has been a police officer for more than 20 years. with more than 12 years of service as a detective. Bigda reportedly told one of the teens he'd crush his skull and plant a kilo of cocaine on his body, supposedly to make his death look drug-related. The video recording of the interrogation was ordered sealed by a judge to protect the identities of the underage youth involved in the crime. But word of the threats led to an investigation which ultimately found Detective Bigda guilty of having violated department policies. He was ultimately suspended without pay for 60 days as a result of an internal affairs investigation. But that punishment wasn't enough for many residents and public officials who say his actions warranted his firing. Springfield's Mayor Domenic Sarno says he supports Police Commissioner John Barbieri's decision to suspend Bigda, instead of firing him. He says that move would not have been successful, because he would have likely won and appealed to the firing, and the city would have been obligated to rehire Bigda. I am not happy about it. This is what was recommended, Sarno said. It's a severe, most severe suspension of 60 working days without pay and retraining. But Mayor Sarno and 5 other councilmen, in an apparent attempt to be transparent, are calling on the video, as much of it as possible, to be released to the general public and the media. While the public and the media haven't been privy to seeing the video and hearing Bigda's alleged murderous threats, defense attorneys who represent accused criminals involved in drug cases of which Bigda was involved, have been given copies of the video. They're now being permitted to use Bigda's comments in defense of their clients, some of whom have already seen their sentences reduced. As a result, an alleged heroin dealer was released after having served only 3 years in jail awaiting trial, due in part to Bigda's involvement as a potential witness in the court proceedings. Bigda's actions, according to City Councilman Adam Gomez, have cost the city an untold amount of money as Bigda's death threats and threats of planting evidence have called into question all of his involvement with alleged criminals and their cases. It is a public safety issue with the opioid crisis, and now some of these big dealers are going to be coming back to our communities, said Gomez. We spend a lot of money trying to lock these people up, and now look at what we are going to do, referring to being forced to let hardened criminals walk free. Whether or not Bigda is a crooked cop, who goes around doing what he threatened he'd do to the teens is anybody's guess. However, many politicians are already voicing their own outrage over Commissioner Barbieri's decision to let Bigda off the hook with what some are calling a slap on the wrist. Springdale City Councilor Justin Hurst asked, I think we have to ask when it comes to this case, at what point, at what standard is there when the commissioner feels a cop should be terminated? The case against Bigda underscores how tolerant police departments are to their officers, while other professions, such as the teaching profession, may not be as lenient. The Springfield Police Department's handling of Detective Greg Bigda may lead many to question, once again, why it is that abusive police officers seem to be held to a lower standard than the rest of America's workforce. For example, if a teacher was filmed on tape threatening to crush the skull of a student or threatened to falsely report to administrators he or she had found drugs on a kid, would that teacher be allowed to continue teaching, even after being suspended without pay for 2 months? Bigda's case has cost the taxpayer an untold amount of money, may very well have traumatized the young men involved, and may now serve to further illustrate the need for more effective police accountability. Read more at http://detective-threatened-killed-kids-suspended/#9H2VITMVUBQSSVJS.99